Welcome to this video on the professional development of higher education teachers, specifically focusing on reading the National Education Policy 2020 through 5 key dimensions of faculty work. This session explores teaching, learning, research, extension, and critical NEP themes. This video examines the theme of equity and inclusion for socially disadvantaged groups. It highlights the challenges, such ACE enrollment declines, and outlines the policy response, including priority groups, special education zones, and inclusion funds. This table lists key NEP 2020 provisions relevant to faculty development. These references cover critical areas like defining disadvantaged groups, establishing special education zones, promoting gender inclusion, and ensuring alignment with accessibility legislation. To translate the theme of equity into practice, several government initiatives are highlighted, including the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, Kanya Shiksha Pravesh Utsav, and the Accessible India Mission, among others. How can institutions build awareness and ownership? This video suggests 3 strategies: understanding your local campus demographics, providing concrete support through infrastructure, and institutionalizing sensitivity by integrating it into faculty development programs. A key takeaway for this session is to make equity concrete rather than abstract. This includes using real local data, separating access from the daily student experience, naming the double disadvantage, and closing with a commitment to action. Moving to the theme of Indian languages, arts, culture, and knowledge systems, this section explores how rootedness in Indian traditions serves as a foundation for global citizenship, addressing language loss and the integration of traditional knowledge systems. This slide outlines specific NEP 2020 chapters and provisions regarding Indian languages and knowledge systems, such as the 3-language formula, Sanskrit mainstreaming, and the proposed Institute of Translation and Interpretation. Several initiatives are in place to support these themes, such as the Bharatiya Bhasha Samiti, the Indian Knowledge Systems Division, and the Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat program, which promotes cultural exchange. Faculty can foster these systems by widening language access through bilingual materials, bringing Indian knowledge systems into the classroom, and actively working to preserve local oral traditions and craft. A helpful tip for this session is to separate multilingualism from political debates. Lead with cognitive research. Clarify that choice is central to the 3-language formula, and use local examples and teaching demonstrations to reduce skepticism. The next theme focuses on technology-enabled and digital education. The objective is to bridge access gaps while safeguarding the quality of learning, using national platforms like Diksha and SWAYAM, and prioritizing evidence-based tech adoption. This table highlights policy provisions concerning technology, including the National Educational Technology Forum, support for virtual labs, and the necessity for awareness regarding data privacy and the ethics of artificial intelligence in education. Key government initiatives in the digital space include the Diksha and SWAYAM platforms, the National Educational Technology Forum, and the National Digital Education Architecture, which supports a wide range of educational tech. Finally, for digital orientation, institutions are encouraged to blend technology with in-person learning, provide specific training for online pedagogy, and ensure that students with limited connectivity are not left behind. This video covers the tip of the session regarding the role of technology in pedagogy. It is essential that technology serves pedagogy, not the other way around. Always evaluate if a tool adds genuine value over traditional methods. In this section, we turn to the themes of research, innovation, and the National Research Foundation. The goal is a shift from purely teaching-oriented campuses to a genuine, vibrant research culture. This table outlines key NEP 2020 provisions for research, including the establishment of the National Research Foundation to fund competitive research, foster research capacity at under-resourced institutions, and link research quality to faculty career progression. Several government initiatives support this research vision, such as the Anusandhan National Research Foundation, the Prime Minister's Research Fellowship, and various funding schemes like Imprint and STARS. Institutions can drive this change by encouraging faculty to start with small, manageable research projects, building local research cells to track funding, and integrating research insights back into classroom teaching. For effective faculty orientation, it is crucial to clarify the distinction between the NRF and its statutory form, the ANRF. Emphasize mentoring and capacity building, not just grant funding, and celebrate small local successes. We now address the final theme: governance, regulation, financing, and the implementation roadmap. This focus ensures that policy goals become practical realities through effective institutional machinery and transparent monitoring. The NEP 2020 responds to historical challenges like insufficient education spending and fragmented regulation by mandating a, quote, light but tight regulatory framework, functional separation of tasks, and phased implementation. This slide displays key policy provisions for governance and regulation, including the commitment to increase public spending, the implementation of institutional development plans, and the creation of standardized assessment through bodies like PARACA. Various initiatives facilitate this governance shift, including the renaming of the ministry to MO, the creation of state NEP implementation cells, and the enforcement of public disclosure norms for financial transparency. Faculty and institutions can align with these goals by reviewing disclosure practices, strengthening internal governance committees, and advocating for resources through the proper institutional channels. When orienting staff on these governance themes, always identify the monitoring mechanisms. Be transparent about budgetary targets versus guarantees, and use institutional development plans as concrete examples of progress. This model integrates the 5 dimensions: teaching, learning, research, extension, and policy literacy. Each area reinforces the others, creating a cohesive and purposeful educational environment for both faculty and students. To help faculty translate policy into practice, this sample development plan provides a template. It encourages setting one realistic target per dimension annually, from pedagogical training to community engagement. Finally, we acknowledge the reality of implementation challenges, including workload pressures and infrastructure gaps. Naming these friction points honestly is the first step toward building a more supportive and effective development plan. Looking ahead, we present recommendations for sustained progress. For individual faculty, we suggest setting one concrete goal per dimension each year. Keep a simple, manageable professional portfolio, and prioritize both seeking and giving peer mentorship. At the departmental level, the focus is on culture. We recommend building peer observation and research mentoring circles. Furthermore, ensure that extension and community work are formally recognized and integrated into departmental workload planning. Institutions play a vital role. This includes protecting time for continuous professional development through strategic timetabling and aligning performance appraisals with all 5 dimensions of faculty work, rather than focusing solely on classroom teaching. For policymakers, the priority is equity. It is essential to ensure that access to the National Research Foundation and professional development programs is equitable across all institution types, whether public or private, rural or urban. This concludes our video series on NEP 2020 faculty development. Thank you for your time. We hope this reflection on our 5 key dimensions, teaching, learning, research, extension, and NEP themes, provides a useful roadmap for your ongoing professional growth.